resident life cycle has 4 stages. To just briefly share with you in regards to numbers, out of the 32 that we have going to COVID-19 and how that's affected us, we've only had 2 households, so less than 10%, where they've notified us about losing their job for one of the households, and the second household having a reduction in pay. So what we're doing is we're renegotiating the lease for a short period of time to make a reduction in the rent. We're not eliminating it, but we're just reducing it, going for there.
Question for you: how proactive were you? I mean, each of your investors or landlords or owners will have a different philosophy on this. But how proactive were you, or what's your suggestion? Because some people are like, I'm not going to bring it up. If it happens, they'll come up to me. Or some people are like, the day of when you heard about the stock markets, or the day of when you heard of sheltering in place, they spoke with their tenants and had that difficult conversation. How proactive do you get?
That's a good question. And so let's back up. I think for a property manager, right now it's on a month-to-month basis, and that you have a checkpoint like at the beginning of every month, which it's coming right around the corner. So with that said, I remember at the end of March, I put together a short video. I sent it to all of our owners saying, hey, we're going to cross a checkpoint April 1st and just see who is paying, who is not. Beautiful things about property management software is that you can have a resident portal where the resident is set up to pay automatically via account number, routing number, debit card, credit card. And for us, the charges get posted as of the 25th. So I was surprised that about 1/3 of the people, this is, even though we have that feature in management, I never really started tracking it up until now, because I'm curious, like, hey, every person that pays is a win for one of the owners we help. So about 1/3 of the people actually pay before the first, and then another 1/3 of the residents pay on the first, and then the last 1/3 trickles in between the second and third. But the point is I told them, look, we don't know who's going to pay. If they bring it up to us, we will have a conversation. So what I did, as far as just being proactive, was on the 3rd, who hadn't paid, we reached out to them and just checked in. And so sure enough, it happened to be those 2 families, those 2 households. Usually we don't call, they're very aware of the policy as far as, hey, when rent is late and what the late fee is. So from this perspective, I reached out to them and they said that was the case. And I think that's the challenge for most residents, because most people, if they have a good paying history, are good-hearted, goodwill, they want to pay. But from their perspective, they only have 2 choices. Either A, they're going to pay rent as usual and then be good to go, or B, they're going to stop paying. So in being able to have these conversations with them, I told them, like, look, we're wanting to work with you and making it a win-win. And if you offer people a reduction, they can still feel like they're staying on top of their obligations, without having to completely say, hey, I'm just going to choose not to pay at all. So that's what we did for us. And I've talked to the owners, and I tell them, look, if we can verify on their behalf that the person has had a loss of income, completely lost their income, let's go ahead and reduce the rent by 50%. It's a big number, but it's better for them to collect something than nothing. Most people have savings. The question is how much or how little. That's up to them to decide. But that works. And then if they just had a reduction in pay, we've been making a suggestion of 35%. And again, it's up to the owner. Every owner is different. Sure enough, for the 2 that we have where the resident had a reduction and a loss in pay, they went ahead and agreed to the number. But yeah, I mean, that's as far as how it's affected us, 2 out of 32 altogether. So.
That's good. That's good to hear in regards to just the strategy, the game plan, and you're providing the solutions to the landlord, right? The landlords are the ones, or the owners are going to be the ones to make that final call. But at least, like you're saying, there's a middle ground. It's not just all or nothing. There could be something in the middle, and that's really cool that you guys make solutions that way.
Yeah. At this point, all of them have, because what's the alternative, right? For both parties. The owner can't kick them out at this point, right? They can't go through eviction. and the resident's not going to move out. But same thing, I think about it from their perspective. You know, who wants to stop paying on something, especially if they have a good track record? You know, it's not the type of person just to say, hey, I'm going to stop paying just because I want to. So I think at this point, it's a win-win.